with everything we've been through.
Yeah, remember when we almost got blasted by that Vulcan?
Yeah, that's where I got this awesome tan.
Oh yeah, there was the shootout at the prison. Great.
Hello, hello. Let's make a game, kind of, in JavaScript. So what I want to do today is make Conway's Game of Life, which is more of a simulation than a game, but I think it counts. So let's go to the Wikipedia page and get a good idea of what it is. So you can see like make all these kind of interesting patterns. The whole idea of Conway's Game of Life is through simple rules, complicated patterns can emerge. You know, quote-unquote evolution kind of ideas. A lot of interesting esoteric math has gone into Conway's Game of Life. It's also really mesmerizing to watch. Last time I made one, I wound up staring at it for a couple hours. It was like 2 a.m. and it was like... Yeah, so let's get to it. It's pretty easy to make. Also, if you're interested in, doing a test first development exercise, Conway's A Game of Life is pretty good for that. It has some discrete rules that make it very testable. So let's go over the rules. So in order to do Conway's Game of Life, your grid just has to obey these rules. So any cell with fewer than 2 neighbors dies, as if caused by underpopulation. Any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbors lives on, so it's got companions or whatever. Any cell with more than 3 neighbors dies, and that's like overcrowding. And then any dead cell with exactly 3 live neighbors becomes a live cell. So it counts all 8 possible neighbors. So if you think of a square grid, it's not just 4 neighbors, it's also the diagonals, so you have 8 possible neighbors to evaluate. So we're going to try to do TDD. I've never been very good at it, so we'll see. Otherwise, we'll just skip the TDD part if I struggle too much and go straight on to building Conway's Game of Life. Sounds pretty cool to me. Let's get to it. Actually, we probably use this. So I'm just going to go ahead and, if you're curious about the editor, I'm using Sublime Text. Fairly popular. Because I like Paint to do everything without IntelliSense. It does have pretty good autocomplete. I've already set up a directory full of empty files and stuff, so you can follow along if you want. So I'm going to pull up my chat window just in case. Any chats coming my way? Move that to the side. No chats so far. Cool. Alright. So I'm just going to go ahead and reference my script. I'm going to use a canvas element because that's my favorite way to do 2D drawing with the HTML5 canvas. Oh, I got a text message from someone. From a person. Oh man, there's a bunch of bots. So you can specify the width and the height on the canvas element, and just to kind of, for brevity, that's the resolution of the canvas. So I can specify the width and height here, and it's not really the width and height of the canvas. That's specified in CSS. Width and height here is resolution. So we'll just go with a good default 800 by 600 maybe. Okay. Cool. Ooh. We'll go ahead and load it up here. Yay, no errors for the no code. So the fewer lines of code you write, the less errors there are. So if there's no code, there's no errors. Best programmer ever. Let's make a... let's make a couple spec files. Let's actually put them in a folder. I'm just going to make a quick container using something called the revealing module pattern in JavaScript. And basically what that is you have a closure and you reveal something out of it. So right here I'm just revealing the variable me. So if I were to do I get me back. Simple as that. So this allows me to, do like, private variables, something like that. I like to separate like any game logic into updates and draws, and kind of create that separation. Reason why is if you put everything inside like a paint function, like where you update and draw, like it can kind of confusing to keep everything straight. And this, I think, just, for me at least, makes it easier. So I've defined 3 methods off my game so far. Update, start, and draw. Start starts the game. You couldn't guess. And if I'm not running, we're just gonna bounce on out of this loop. This is just a quick way of ending the loop. I'm gonna so like if I'm coming into main loop and I'm not running, then we'll just bounce right out. Obviously, the first time I call start, this won't be called, but during the course of the game, during the main loop, maybe I decide that the game isn't running anymore, and it'll just stop the game. So I'm going to use something called request animation frame, and what that does is it basically schedules this function to be called on the next vsync of the browser. Which is better than set interval, because you have no idea when set interval is going to fire. No guarantees that it'll fire on that interval, and it doesn't guarantee that the last callback even finished when you call set interval, so your callbacks could back up into each other. Equals mega bad. Mega bad. Let's do some timing code. Yes. Yay, timing code. Timing code after I schedule. So no vampires. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or if you see me do something wrong, which is entirely possible. Otherwise, enjoy the musical musings. I'm going to set this to be true by default. I also like to do debug drawing. For instance, FPS. That's a good example when you want to do debug drawing. Okay. And this is in milliseconds. So date.now will get you the current time in milliseconds. maybe maybe engine code is very interesting, or not. Probably not. Actually, let's get at that canvas that we created over here. So that's a game, the aptly named game. I'm just gonna move this over here. There we go. The vanilla JS way to get an element by ID instead of jQuery is get element by ID. In order to draw to the canvas, we have to get the drawing context. So do that like this. You can also specify it like WebGL right there if you want it. If you're into WebGL. I like to organize all of the things that can be updated and drawn in my game into things that have two methods that update or draw. And then that's a game. If you're familiar with like Unity or something like that, it does an entity type model. So what they call entities, I call actors. Same kind of idea. So I did request animation frame right there, but probably should polyfill it because not all browsers might have that. So we can do that really easy. I think that's all of them. All of them I know of. Cool, so... Oh, we probably also want to clear. Cool. Oh, cool. That's new. I haven't seen that in Chrome yet. That's awesome. Oh, it would help if I'm calling clear. Oh, it'd also help if I start the game. Huzzah! So, I've done this before, and usually when you're not streaming, it'll be going at 60 FPS, but because streaming is so taxing on my machine, it's really quite all over the place. So, pay no mind. It's pretty awful. Also, I did a bit of CSS to center the canvas in the middle of the screen. Display block margin auto. When I learned that, my mind exploded. So, it's like the only CSS I know. Like, don't be fooled, I know nothing. That's like the only thing I know. I know how to do that. Alright, cool. So we got some things that'll do things. Cool. So if I want to be super test-driven development, I won't even write any code until the test requires me to. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how that goes. Oh, I'm going to use Jasmine as my testing framework. I personally really like it. It kind of puts you in the right frame of mind. It's a behavioral-driven test development. So yeah, everything works in terms of describing behavior. Describe. already defined. Let's see, I gotta look up the documentation because I don't remember. Okay, so you describe a suite, give it a function, it does something. Expect it to do other things. Cool. So here's my spec runner for Conway's Game of Life right now. There's nothing in it. A cell, it is defined sure if that is in the new version or not. Alright, so following their layout, I just downloaded the zip through Bower to get the browser-based Jasmine test runner. There's also a node-based one, so if you're doing like node development, you can do Jasmine node. That's what I've used before. That works pretty good. Alright. Let's see what we get. No specs found. Pure sadness. Okay. We got any errors. Oof. Because the computer is running very slow. Do that one. Well, I'm including spec files there. And I'd really like it to fail the test. That would be ideal. Whoa! Well, that would be why. There we go. Reality confirmed. There was no code in the file, so it did nothing. Yes. Water is wet. Let's see if we fail the test now. Yay! Cell's defined. It is not. Reality is confirmed. Tests fail. Okay, so that means I can make a cell now. I'm allowed. I'm doing extreme test-driven development. I'm now allowed to define a cell. That is it. Well, okay, I'll do this. I'm already breaking the rules. Alright, so let's see. Oh, you know what? It would help if in my spec runner I add that in my source file. Script source. Alright. So if we take, oh yeah, we have a cell now. The tests are all green, so there's no errors. Right? The test passed, there are no errors. That's what we've learned. Alright, so next thing. So let's take a look at our notes here. Where are my notes? They're there. Oop. I think I need to delete that file. Okay, let's take a look at the notes. So, we need to be able to get the neighbors of a cell. So cells have neighbors. And cells have different states. They have alive and dead. So we could probably represent that as a Boolean, because you're either alive or dead. You're nowhere in between, depending on what you subscribe to. So yeah, I think the first thing there is to do is query for neighbors. So let's go take a look. It has neighbors. Ooh. Let's see, how do I do setups? How do I do oh, man, streaming is incredibly taxing on the machine. Before each is how you do it. Alright. So, before each test, we're going to make a new cell. Okay, so it should have neighbors. When I call get neighbors, it should return me neighbors. So it should be something that's truthy in the JavaScript parlance. I'm not sure if this is part of the spec runner or this Jasmine spec, but we'll see. Undefined is not a function, so cells don't have neighbors yet. So let's go write that code. How do I spell neighbors? Am I being English today? No, I'm not being English. Alright. Hard code it. We're test-driven development, which means we only write code that we're forced to. So far so good. A cell is defined and it has neighbors. Apparently. So a cell also has 8 neighbors. Actually, why don't we just do this? Alright. So we should see this test fail. Yep. Expected 0 to be 8. Cool. Oh, I'm writing code. I'm writing code before the test. Hold on. I think cells should be dead by default. Alright, there's a typo. But, test fails, so... Alright, it said dead by default. Alright, so I think those are all the ones I can write without getting too into the grid. Let's look at the notes. Alright. Any live cell okay, so I think I need to write some methods that evaluate whether or not it's going to die or it's going to live. Fewer than two, more than three. Actually, I can just you know what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to do this before each. Actually, I can just do this. So I'm doing before each, I create a new cell and I instantiate all of the neighbors to be cells. Go ahead and return them, and then all I have to do then is none of this craziness, and I can say is alive. It's true, so there's only one that's alive. So then we can expect that cell that should die to be true. Alright, let's go ahead and run that sucker. Alright, cannot set property is alive of undefined. That might be a problem. So that means is alive was undefined there. Let's see, what do we got here? We do have an is alive there, so that's not the problem. I think the culprit here might be neighbors. Not being sad. Why is that not working? I spelled it wrong, which is also possible. No? Well, why is it not working? Oh, hello, in the chat. I must have missed you a while ago. Oh yeah, no, I am making everything from scratch. Except for the testing framework in the browser and the editor, but I don't know. Sometimes it's useful to go back to basics and kind of feel out the bare bones stuff. I don't know. That might be a valid opinion or not. Yeah. Conway's Game of Life. So, the question was in the chat what game I'm making is Conway's Game of Life. It's less of a game and more of a simulation, I guess. So I'm going to count it. So we can take a quick look at Wikipedia. It's kind of a neat little simulation that illustrates how like complicated patterns can arise from simple rules. So it's kind of neat. Yeah, it's gonna be fully JavaScript. So cool beans. So far we got empty canvas with an FPS counter that's going all over the place. Just because streaming is very intense on my machine and doesn't like it very much. Alright, back to debugging why this isn't working. I think we need a breakpoint. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, so there is an array of things. There was an exception. The neighbors seem to be empty, so I'd have to say that my map didn't work. Let's see what we got in here. So we got an array of 8. So if I go ahead and step over this guy, what do we got? Nothing! Ooh, that's some serious sadness right there. So we got an array of 8 nothings. That is truly sad. So, what is going on here? Apparently map doesn't work the way I think it does. Let's consult the JavaScript resource. Oh, this computer's so slow. Mozilla Developer Network. Alright. Map creates a new array with the results of the calling function provided for each element. Okay. Yeah, it should work. Well, we'll just do it the hard way because I'm sick of doing it. There, debugging this. We'll do it the gross way, where I create a new cell for each element, and you shame me because I couldn't figure it out. Oh yeah, pro. Alright, let's take a look at these guys. Hey, now they're things. Okay, and then should die. Undefined is not a function. Okay, so now we can implement should die. I'm going to use the filter function off of array. Allows you to filter out, or to filter elements you want to keep. So the way that works is if you return true out of the callback, that means that element is okay, so it gets to stay in the list. So so if it's alive, it gets to stay in the list because I'm making a list of living neighbors. So if it's less than 2, we should die. Otherwise, return false. Alright, so this should pass, maybe. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. Hey! Test-driven development. That's fun stuff. Alright, so let's take a look at the notes. What's next? So, any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbors continues on to the next generation. Okay. Let's write a test for that. Still alive. Is it just me, or are other people thinking of Jonathan Colton right now? Alright, so 2 or 3 live neighbors. So, shouldn't die in those cases. So let's see if we passed. We might get these for free. Oh yeah, we got them for free. That's awesome. My music stopped. Totally royalty-free dubstep. Awesome. It's the best dubstep ever. Alright, so that one we got for free. So let's see what else we got in the notes. If it has more than 3 neighbors, it should die. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Alright. We didn't get that one for free. Let's see if we get... I did it. Oh yeah! Test-driven development. That's great stuff. Cool, so now our cells satisfy all the conditions, as far as I'm aware. Oh no, we have one more. Any dead cell. Oh, okay, so if the cell is dead and has 3 live neighbors, it becomes a live cell, as if by reproduction. Okay, so let's write that test. So it should be born if it has exactly 3 neighbors. So let's get exactly 3. Should be born to be true. Alright. And that should fail. Awesome. That's awesome. Alright, let's do that. Oh, code smell. I'm copying code. I am duplicating code. This is a bad sign. Alright. Oh. Should be born. Should be born. Should be born. There we go. Can't spell. Whoa. Oh, aha. That's why we do test first development. Because of bugs like that. Alright, cool. So I think that is all of them. All of my criteria. So I think it's time to do some grid stuff. Maybe that's as much test first development as I feel like doing. Yeah, I think that's about as much test first as I feel like doing today. So let's just start drawing stuff. make a grid. Alright. How do I want to do this? Yeah, I'll just do width height, whatever. Alright, so we're going to do rows, columns, and then the width and height of each row and column. Alright. So we're going to make a board. It's going to have some cells in it. So we got to populate the board, or the grid, with some cells. Easiest way to do that. Know how many you got? Rows by columns, man. Rows by columns. I'm also just gonna tack these off the object too. Might be useful. Okay. Cool. So, once we have a whole bunch of cells on the grid, we're going to need a way to get at them. So we can get cell XY. Alright, let's see if I can remember how to do this. Alright, so I packed our 2D grid into a 1D array, so now we need to do some fancy pants math. Which I think is y times false? I think that gets it. So, okay, so my x offset into the array is my x, where I am in the in the row. Okay, let me think about this. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because the width of a row is columns. So, if I'm at y0, then I just progress x along. If I'm at y1, I skip ahead the width of that row. So basically, it's like I took a 2D grid, and then I took each row and I just I made a line out of it. So that's basically what it is. And this works. One thing that might be interesting is doing a torus grid. That's if I get a cell. So if I want a cell, like if I want cell -1, -1, I do the modulus and get the actually the bottom right cell. Does that make any sense? So that might be interesting for later. Torus grid? Question marks? Alright. I think map gives me an index, doesn't it? Yes! It does give me an index. That's awesome. Because what I can do there is determine the X and Y of the cell. No, I don't want to put it. Yeah, we'll do that later. Yeah, I think this is good for now. We'll do that later. So, here's another thing. I like to organize things in my games with an update and a draw. Just keeps things nice and clean, in my opinion. Alright, so let's load in some scripts that we have. So we made those cells. Made the grid. Here's our engine code. Let's do 10 by 10 for now, with widths, each cell having a width and height of 20 pixels. Alright. Pretty simple, right? Game, grid, push grid, game start. I like it. So, I'm just gonna draw something, maybe. Alright, so I will just draw a white rectangle. That's our grid so far. So that's what we should see. If we don't see that, I've done something wrong. Probably should have an X position, now that I think about it. Okay, so we'll draw a grid, 50-50. That's 10 by 10 cells. Each cell is 20 in pixels in width and height. Oh, yeah. I'll throw this up on GitHub or something. It'll be on my my personal GitHub, which is github.com/ the name of my channel. I think Eonerheim. Yeah, I think that's right. I think. Yeah, I'll throw it up on GitHub. Alright. I don't think I updated that code. Alright. Alright. Now we can see if it draws anything. Oh, there's errors. I love errors. Alright. Row is not defined. Oh, well, it's definitely not. That's correct. Rows. I like the new red squiggly in Chrome. This is new. I honestly did not see this before today. So, it must be a new thing. I don't know if you guys do any web development. That's my day job. I munch JavaScript. Okay, cool. So, white rectangle. That's what we expected. So, maybe get some grid lines going on. Canvas is state-based, so you have to set the style, do a drawing, set the style to something new, and do a different drawing. So that's long and short of it. Okay, so we're gonna just have to skip over the columns, draw vertical lines up and down, and then go down the rows and do horizontal lines. Sounds like it makes sense. Actually, I think I know what it is. We'll see what the Googles come back with. I forget how to draw a line. Oddly enough, I don't draw a lot of lines. What is going on? Begin path. Move to line 2. Got it. So we want to move to X. Current X and Y0. So we want to do lines down there. So we want a line 2. Alright. So the only thing changing there is Y, and then we also need to update current X to be width. Updated by width. Alright, so if we do that, we should see some horizontal or some vertical lines show up maybe. Ooh, there's some errors. Whoa. Line 2, not a function. What did I miss? Line 2 is still a function. Oh, no, I spelled it wrong. Casing! Oh, streaming is so taxing on my computer. Cool. Not precisely what I was expecting, but there are vertical lines now. Why doesn't it go to the bottom? X, Y, width, height. I think I'm offset. Oh, you know, I'm offset. Because I'm not adding my X and Y, that's why. So, I think a better way to do this is just work around 0 and use an affine transformation to do this. So we'll just do a save and restore here. Affine transformations are fancy graphics speak for translate, rotate, skew, scale. Alright. There we go. Ah! And this will be pretty much the same for the Y stuff. We use a different incrementer. Our favorite incrementer, J. Alright, so we want to go from 0x to maximum x at the current y. So that'll do the horizontal lines. And we want those to be height. So we should see some grids! Fantastic. Time for some soda. Excellent. So that'll be drawing the grid, shape, draw cells in the grid. In the interest of being fully customizable, I think we should have a cell color, and that should be like something like maybe green, because green is alive. Alright, so we have an isAlive property, which is mega useful. Just do a for each on that sucker, and then actually we only need to set that once. What's the best way to do this? Yeah, I think we'll have to. I think the cells will have to know their coordinates. We'll have to set that up. All right. So that should draw all the cells, if they're living or dying. We'll update the game state for each iteration. So basically, in the update, we'll take the simulation forward. We'll do that there. But I think we need to seed the cells with their x and y coordinates so that we can draw them. So, the way to do that is I have the index, and if I take that index and I mod it by the width of the row. If I modify columns, I'll get Y. So if I have I and I divide it, let's see. I basically need, so if I have actually, that doesn't give me Y at all. That gives me X. Because if I have, like, say if I have a 7x7 grid, and it's packed into a 1D array, so if I'm an index, if I'm like index 3, that means I'm an X3 and Y0. So I have to divide by columns and do the floor. I think that's right. Hey, new person in the chat. Yes, I am using JavaScript. I am making Conway's Game of Life, which is not really a game. Mostly, it's a simulation. But it has a lot of game-like elements, and I'm using my same design patterns that I'd use in a game, so I figured it'd be good. And it's simple, so I don't have to stay up all night. I started out doing like test-driven development or whatever to do the constraint satisfaction. Quick, Conway's Game of Life is this simulation, basically. Kind of neat, a little mesmerizing. Basically, it's these 4 simple rules that evaluate and create these really complicated patterns. So there's a lot of esoteric math, like that has been done around it. So a lot of mathematicians love this. So let's see if I have. Yeah, I think this works. I think this will encode the X and Y of a cell. From a mapping from a 1D space to a 2D space. Yeah. No. I can show you maybe something I've worked on. If it ever loads. So I maintain a JavaScript game library called Excalibur.js. So we've done a couple things. So maybe go take a look. This is what we did for LD29. Let's do this one. It's all JavaScript too. It's gonna be loud, so I'm gonna turn it down. Ooh, it's super loud and gross. Oh, it's super loud. I'm gonna mute it. Yeah, we didn't really mix it very well. So basically, we made a kind of a stealth game, so that the theme in LD29 was beneath the surface. So we decided to make a stealth squid game to attack ships. I thought it was pretty funny. But if you're not familiar, Ludum Dare is it's a game jam where you have like 72 hours if you're working in a team, or 48 if you're working alone, to make a game given a prompt. So it's actually a lot of fun. You learn a lot. I learned a lot doing it. So I'd really recommend participating. Oh crap! I'm stuck. So yeah, it's not without bugs, but. Maybe fake breakout. Oop. My computer's chugging really hard. Anyway, yeah, so I've done game stuff before, but this is kind of a just for fun. Conway's Game of Life. Cool. Yeah, but actually, if you guys are interested, the LD31 is December 5th. I'm taking off work for it, so it'll be fun. instead of munging bits for an undisclosed company, I'll be making a game instead. Alright, so I was working on cells. They need to know their X and Y. I don't know. Do you guys? So what do you guys normally program in? So like I normally program in JavaScript just because I love it. But that happened after a lot of pain. So like I love JavaScript now. It definitely wasn't always that way. You guys, or maybe you guys don't code. Maybe you guys do like GameMaker, which is totally okay, by the way. Whatever gets you to making games. I'm kind of curious, guys. What do you guys use? If you guys make games. All right, cool. So let's test this guy out. So grid.cells, and we'll just pick one of them. That is a lie. That's true. So we'll see if it'll draw a cell, basically. Oh, we got some issues. Can't get at grid cells. So it's that same problem. For some reason I can't return anything out of a map and have it work. Awesome. Yeah, my first language was Python. So I did stuff in Pygame in high school and stuff, which is pretty fun to check out. That's what I always recommend to people if they will like want to get into coding, and then also they feel like they want to do games. Is Python is pretty good. Cool, very cool. Yeah, GameMaker's pretty cool. Vlambeer like uses it, I guess, to do all their rapid prototyping and stuff. So, if you ever want to see a really interesting talk, I gotta find it. But if you go on YouTube and like search Game Feel, or I forget the name of the talk, but there's a talk by Vlambeer with Jens where he's talking about how to make a game good. He talks about like camera shake. So camera shake is the way to make a game good. So the game is bad before, add camera shake, it's a good game. So I thought that was funny. Alright. Apparently I don't know how to do map. Map is not working for me. I wonder if I have to return... Apparently I do not know how to map. Actually, let's just try it in the console here.
Listen.
Okay, so that works. Dude, Vlambeer is the best. I play Nuclear Throne like every once in a while, and like I'm like, okay, one more, and then it's like, okay, one more, and it's like 6 hours later. So you have to be like really careful, or you wind up playing Nuclear Throne for like a million years. They have a really refreshing perspective on game development, in my opinion. I really like it. I'm wondering, maybe I'm gonna set a breakpoint in there because I'm obviously doing something wrong here. Let's clear the console out of these all these errors. Huh. That's just plain goofy. So, like, I wonder if that's a bug in Chrome. Because I've got an array of 100 things. Huh. Huh, that's plain effing goofy. I've never seen that before. That is absolutely bonkers. Huh. Well, I guess we got to work around it. I should, like, it should map over the elements, whether or not they're undefined or not. That's super goofy. Just make sure we don't leak any variables. Actually, we'll just push new elements on. Alright, let's see if that properly initializes all the cells. Oh, I have a semicolon in there. Alright. No, it didn't. Oh, you know why? There we go. Alright. Cool. Awesome. We have 100 cells. Fantastic. That's awesome. Alright. Alright, let's see if we got something to draw. What do we do? 6? Hey, that's even in the right spot. Didn't even try. Cool. That took a long time. Okay, so I think I'm gonna upgrade. I'm gonna change cells so that cells know about the grid they're in. we'll just start from the -1. So I'm basically thinking I'll just precede I'll precede these with the references to their cell, their neighbors, so that way we can just go to town. You could do this with a really fancy pants for loop, but I'm lazy. Oop. What do I got? Do I got 8? Cool. Alright. So X down, X middle, X right. This is poor man's whatever I'm doing. Yeah, actually, that's a good question for the edges. So right now, the way I'm doing it won't work. I'm thinking about doing a torus grid, and that's if you get something like in the negative or off the edge, it wraps around to the other side. So that way, it's kind of like a torus world. So like in a lot of what's good? It's kind of like in a video game where if you fall off the bottom, you can start at the top and just kind of keep falling. It's that idea. It's Torus world. So I'm thinking if I do that, you can get an interesting simulation at least. Alright. Let's see. What do I want to do next? So I have... Oh, you know what? Let's just get the torus thing working. So if x is less than 0, then we want to add that to the columns. And if y is less than 0, we want to add that to the columns, because that'll get us the grid cell at the bottom. Oh! You can do the torus function without a branching if statement. It might be better. Ooh. X equals x plus columns, mod columns. Yeah, that works. Modular arithmetic! Hey, did you guys ever do, like, math crypto? You guys ever take math crypto? That shit warped my brain. Yeah, thanks for the tip, 3bad. That's awesome. It would have took me at least a longer time to figure that one out. Cool. Ooh. Neat. All right. So then if I get cell -1, -1, it should be the same as the cell 0, 0. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that I'd only ever be working in the positive until you hit the edge. Yeah, ooh, let's find out. Let's have to find out how it does mod in the negative. Let's see, -1 mod 5 is -1. So, yeah, cool. C++, man, that's close to my heart. Do you do C++ 11, the new one, or are you still doing 98? Because I learned C++ C++ 98. So I heard that 11 is way better. So like you get lambdas and you get var, and I guess infinite variadic templates, which is something I needed. Not really. Alright, so I want to see. Let's undo that. Let's undo that breakpoint. Get cell of undefined. Alright, there's errors. Oh, you know what would help is if I actually vetted the grid. Me. Maybe?
Whoa, wicked.
I missed something here?
Wicked.
Oh yeah, no, good call. You're right. I'm long. Hogan long. Yeah. I must be missing something here. Undefined is not a function. So get cell maybe is not on the grid. It is 2 on the grid. Okay. Alright, let's see what we've got here. I blame New Chrome.
Whoa, wicked.
So I'm missing all of my methods. I have no cells. Why am I missing all my methods? It should be a reference. Oh, you know what it's... Oh, you know what it is? Because it's trying to do it right when I... Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense now. I have to wait for my methods to be defined. Alright. Alright, that's what I expected to happen. Whole bunch of undefines. Alright. Alright, so we got -1. You know what? I probably lost column. No, I still have it. Cool. So I should get 9, 9. Man, this hovering over thing is not working for me right now. Okay, so 9 and 9. So I should have cells. Ah, I have no cells. What? Where did my cells go? Alright. Okay, I think I'm noticing a problem here. Because, alright, so when because if I don't precede it with just empty cells and then just modify it, we run into a problem where so none of the cells exist. So when I try to create a cell and they try to find their neighbors, they don't exist, so that's why they're undefined. Alright. So I could do this the really wrong way. I'm thinking of just pushing. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this the really wrong way. Or, no, actually I don't have to, because we can just do this. It'll be right eventually. Cool. Yeah, good night, man. Spetsnaz. Yeah, I can catch you up real quick. So right now I'm doing Conway's Game of Life, which is just kind of a cellular automata simulation. It's basically the idea that simple rules can make really complicated patterns. And at the start of the stream I was doing test first development, but then we decided to abandon that and just make things appear on the screen. Cool. So I think my neighbor stuff is working. Alright. So to update the state of the game, we want to find let's make sure my tests are still passing, out of morbid curiosity. No! Oh, it's because it doesn't know about grid. Alright. Should be born, should die. Okay. Actually, I think we need to do these after the fact. So they don't interfere with each other. Alright, cool. So that'll update at the speed of craziness. Yep, this is JavaScript. Yep. It's the language of the web. Runs just about everywhere. Okay. I think that should do something. So let's seed the board. Actually, let's only update every few milliseconds. Let's see, speed. So every 200 milliseconds we'll update. Otherwise it's going to go really, really fast. Alright, so if the current time elapsed is not over, our threshold will skip right out of the update. Otherwise, we will, if we do execute, then we'll reset the current time to 0. Awesome. Cool. Alright, that's what I expected to happen. Let's clear all the errors out of here. So let's seed the grid with maybe more cells. Let's see, cell 5 is alive. Actually, let's pick a repeating pattern that's in here so that we know we got it right. So actually, if I do a block, it should just remain static. So we'll know it's working if a block stays. So cool. So that's a block. Booyah! Alright, so let's make that a little more interesting. Neat. Let's pull up in some of this engine code. Set up some click handlers. Add event listener. Function event. Actually, that's not how you do it. That's how you do it. Alright, so when we click, we want to seed the board. Seed the grid. So we're going to get an event back, and I don't know what is in it. Okay, so we got a mouse event back. Lots of stuff in it. And X and Y, that's mostly what I care about. Cool. Actually, what I'm going to have to do is expose the canvas out. Because I need to change the grid out here. Alright, so if we click, we want to find which cell we clicked on. So that would be event X divided by grid width. That's the width of each individual cell. Get the Y height. Take the floor of that, and then we can go ahead and get that cell. So when I click on stuff, I want it to be alive. That'd be a great way to seed the grid, I think. Alright. We might run into trouble because the grid's being offset right now. So why don't we just eliminate that problem right now. I'm just going to bump the speed a little bit so I have some time to seed the grid. Well, that's close. Something's up. Alright. So I'm offset by some amount. Let's see, what do we got? So we have X and Y. So Y, page XY, screen XY. Because I have a feeling that it's gonna get more and more like it's because of the it's because of like the whatever I'm using to do the floats. So I think X and Y might be absolute X and Y. Yeah, dude, Sublime is the best. It is awesome. Actually, I'm just going to console log that event out. see how it changes. So, refresh. So, okay. I'm thinking offset X and offset Y is what I'm looking for, because that's really that portion of the element. It's not the absolute screen. I think that's what I'm looking for. Oh, yeah, I agree. I didn't even see your comment until I... Hey, that worked. Excellent. Hey, we got a static one. All right, cool. So I think the coolest way to do it might be to prevent things from the grid from updating unless we've told it to, so that we can seed the grid and then we can start and stop it. Maybe that might be cool. So let's do dot simulation on equals false. So if not me simulation on, so if not on, go ahead and return, bounce right out of here. So we're not going to update the grid until we're ready to do something. So grid simulation on. Okay. So let's do something maybe. I think that's a pattern. And to answer your question, dude, we're making Conway's Game of Life, which is more of a simulation than a game. I lied. But all of the design patterns and stuff are basically what I use to make games. So simulation on equals true. Oh, cool! It's working. That's nuts.